Welcome to the Sports Legends, where you're going to get the most in-depth sports breakdowns on YouTube. I'm your host, Bull. Today we will be beginning our series breaking down all the potential starting quarterbacks in the SEC for 2025. And obviously, we're going to be kicking that off with Arch Manning, who does play for Texas. Listed at 6'4", 225 pounds, clocked as fast as 23.1 miles per hour. Now, just as a point of reference, P and I did a whole video breaking down who's going to be the fastest players at the 2025 NFL Combine. The fastest speed was 23.1 miles per hour. So Arch has definitely got some wheels on him. And last season, he hit 61 of the 90 passes that he threw. That's 67.8%, but he was accurate on 74.2% of them. There were some drops and things like that. He also had 939 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He carried the football 22 times for 148 yards. That's an average of 6.7 yards per carry. And that right there, that's not factoring in sacks and things like that. I'm talking about real, true design runs for Arch Manning, and he is a dual threat guy. He's a pocket passer. He's just, for me, like a prototype quarterback. And obviously, having the pedigree of being a Manning, looking at his film, man, and today we will jump us out of the film room. We're going to watch him versus Mississippi State, but watching that game in depth, I feel like he has the potential to be better than any of the other quarterbacks in his family. And actually, it's been rumored that his dad was the best out of all the Mannings, and it just kind of feels like Arch is going to pick up where he left off at. But let's go ahead and jump into this film room. All right, on this first play, we're going to have a deep comeback, about 15 to 20 yards is something that Sark loves to do inside of his offensive scheme. And I think that Arch actually looks pretty good throwing this, but we'll let this thing play out. So boom, boom, boom. Good job inside the pocket. We've already seen that. But as soon as this wide receiver comes open, the ball is pretty much there. And that's a throw that you have to drive. So we already know just off the first play that Arch has the arm talent to operate this offense, at least with that throw. If you can make that throw, really all the rest of them are going to be pretty easy. So we're going to pay attention to Arch from this angle, same play, just looking at his footwork and things like that. Good job with that fake. Steps up into the pocket well, throws. He's got a little bit of pressure coming there, but that doesn't really phase him. Very accurately thrown football, like we said. It's not all arm. He gets his lower body into it. Really, I just think that his fundamentals and all that type of stuff, it's about as good as you would expect for it to be as a Manning. So on this next one, what we're going to have is an RPO, and obviously Arch can hand the football off, or he can throw it to his wide receiver outside. So I don't know exactly who he's going to be reading on this play, but I do know that the main thing that they want to try to figure out is someone going to be up under this comeback route from the wide receiver. So he's more so, more or less going to be looking at the area that's highlighted in green. And if someone goes to that area, then he knows, hey, I got to hand this football off. So again, it could be one of the linebackers. It could be one of the safeties that he's watching. We see one of the linebackers come up to the line of scrimmage. So Arch probably knew as soon as that linebacker came up that no one's going to be able to get underneath this comeback in time. And we'll see it again from this angle. But again, paying attention to the ball placement, paying attention to the footwork, carrying out the fakes and all that. He didn't really have a whole lot of room to step into that throw on the RPOs. Sometimes that's just going to happen, but I like the way that he got enough lower body into it for the ball to be there on time and to be accurate enough that the wide receiver could get up the field and try to make something happen. So on this next one, they're going to be faking a bubble screen to the running back coming out of the backfield. And this slot wide receiver, he's going to do like a stock and go. So if the guy that he's showing that blocking motion to, if they come down, if they're going to bite, then Arch knows that he can throw this pass, quickly. So that's pretty much what he's reading there. Boom. Okay, so see the guy bite up, and now really well-placed football. And we're going to see it again from this angle, right? See it again from the end zone angle. Again, paying attention to how does his footwork and things like that look. That's a beautiful fake. Steps into it, throws a shoulder into it, and now that's a tight window that he's got to fit this football into, and he does it. Obviously, you can see the Mississippi State, they've got a couple of players that are closing. If this ball is thrown too far to the inside, that could be an interception. If it's too far, obviously, I would say behind that wide receiver, the other guy right here that's right like on the 10-yard line, he could make a play on this football. So it's got to be inside of this window, and just to be able to boom, throw your shoulder over and then find your guy running down the sideline and be very accurate. I'm impressed. I think that Arch would probably have been, fighting to be the #1 overall pick in this season draft, just kind of based off of some of his skill set things. But on this one, we're going to have a dig, and Arch is going to be reading this safety, right? So this is cover 3, and I'm not going to go too far into what Texas is doing with the route combinations, but based off of the routes that they're running, he knows that if that safety goes back, then this dig is going to be open. So that's the main person that he's reading, and we're going to watch this thing unfold. You see that the secondary players are starting to back off. You're seeing that one high look. That is a strong indication of, hey, this is indeed cover 3. Safety backs up because they pretty much had to. And again, we're seeing that the wide receiver gets the ball in stride. He can run after the catch. Very, very important. The ball placement needs to be good. So We'll see it again from this end zone angle, and really good job carrying out that fake. Snaps his hand around quick. Great job standing tall inside of the pocket. Delivers a strike, effortless. He also has a really quick throwing motion. That's huge, dude. I'm like, that's something that people do not talk about enough. And on this one, we're gonna have the slot guy running kind of like a streak route. It's kind of bent a little bit, but basically Arch is going to be reading this safety that's kind of looks like he's playing manned up on that slot guy, but he's actually going to drop into a zone because of, again, the route combinations that Texas is running. So what Archer understands is that if this safety moves to the other side of that hash, right, then yeah, we can throw this all day long because there's no one that's going to be over the top of this that can stop it. So Arch sees that movement, throws a perfect football. Okay, that is beautiful. And we're going to see it again from the end zone so that y'all can see this how accurate the pass actually was. So we're going to get Arch highlighted right here so that y'all know where he's at. And right here, boom, goes to his reads. Great job inside the pocket, stands tall. Perfectly thrown football. You see it hits his wide receiver in stride yet again, and it's just dropped. So if this one wasn't dropped, we talked about Arch having like 939 yards passing last season. This right here by itself could have put him over 1,000 yards or very close to it. But, it is dropped, but that's not on Arch. Just perfectly thrown, laid it up there beautifully. So on this next one, what we're going to have is a hook route right here by this outside wide receiver. And Arch is going to go through several reads here. So we're going to watch him as he goes through them. So he's looking here first, right? So you see that there's two people there. Now, honestly speaking, I do think that that's a window that Arch could fit it. He could fit the football into this window. And that's what you would expect NFL quarterbacks to do. Again, Arch is not going to the league next season. He's still going to be at Texas. And I mean, it's a dangerous throw, but there are some quarterbacks that we're going to look at that will throw this and they will make this throw about 99% of the time. So Arch is a little bit more cautious with that, and I'm fine with it. But the other portion of it is you have to have a really good offensive line to be able to go through all these different reads. So now he's going to look back over to the left. He's seeing double coverage. This is another dig. There's a guy underneath it. There's a guy over the top of it. But there is still a little bit of a window right there that I feel like Arch could have tried to fit it into. Like I just said, we will talk about some quarterbacks that will throw this pass and they will be accurate with it. They're not going to be scared to throw it into these types of windows. So that might be a place that maybe Arch could pick his game up at a little bit more. But you see him just kind of still scanning that field. And, he's looking, he's saying, okay, maybe I can fit it into this next window because I don't think that he liked that linebacker playing underneath that. Okay, so this route, it looked like it was going to be a dig. It looks like now this is a post. So there is a safety playing over the top, but you see that there is some, there is a little bit of room that Arch could fit this football into, right? But he decides not to, so he comes back to this read. Okay, this is that hook that we kind of start off with. He goes through pretty much all of his reads, comes right back to this, and he sees, hey, there's some, there's some green grass. There's a little area that I can throw it to with a lot more space. So Arch feels comfortable here. And he has to fit it into that little bit of a window. He has to fit it inside of that box, and he does. So I liked what I saw there, and we're going to see it again from this end zone angle, and y'all can see a lot better how his eyes are moving. He's going through all of his reads, looks really good standing inside the pocket. Prototype actually steps up, throws that one on the run, so he can do those types of things too. Now this one, what we're going to have is a wheel route coming from the running back, and we can see right here, I know that Arch understands this, that outside linebacker is going to have to pick that wheel route up. If he doesn't, then he's going to be coming with pressure, and that should still leave that wheel route open, okay? It's going to be tough for them to cover all this stuff if that linebacker doesn't pick him up. So that's why I have him highlighted. But that little green area, that's where the football should be placed at. And, Arch still has some pressure. He has it right in his face, but does a good job of standing inside the pocket. The ball is a little bit overthrown. So we'll see it again from the end zone angle. And you can see right here that that Mike, he is blitzing A-gap. So this is Arch's guy, right? They're going to run a stunt up front that's going to open this up. So, and since that running back is going out on a wheel route, this is Arch's guy, okay? This is the guy that Arch needs to see, and he has to have an answer for. All right, so that's what's going to happen on this one. He sees him coming because he's coming right at him, but that he does not flinch. So you see that he's closing out. Arch's eyes are still down the field. His posture still looks good. He doesn't care. This is what we love to see quarterbacks doing, right? Like, and he's a tough guy, and that ball is just slightly off, right? Like it's off, but it's still thrown in a good spot where it's not going to be picked. Now what we're going to have right here is a slot fade, okay? It's a slot fade coming from the guy that's circled in yellow, and then it's going to be one-on-one coverage versus the guy that's in red. But the other part of this is that Arch knows he's working with a 5-man protection, and Mississippi State is going to be bringing 6 people. So just like we saw on the previous play, Arch knows that someone is going to be unblocked, right? Because this is an empty set. So this is just his understanding of, hey, the ball has to come out quick. And actually, the looks like the protection slid to the left. But this is just like that previous play. When Arch stands in there, he's accurate. Okay. He's accurate all the way down the field. So we'll see it again from here. Now, Arch knows because, like we just said, he slid all of his offensive linemen to his left, to our right. And he knows that the guy that's going to be unblocked is coming off of the edge. And he's the furthest guy from him. So I like the way that he set that up. All right. So this is going to give Arch enough time on a 3-step drop. Boom, ball's got to come out. Again, Arch feels that pressure. His eyes stay down the field. He's still tall throwing and all of that, right? He's going to be accurate with it. Takes an absolute shot right to the ribs. And look at this window that he fits it into. That's a really small window all the way down the field. This is beautiful. I mean, I'm telling you, this is why I feel like he could have potentially been the #1 overall draft pick in this year's draft, because you don't see too many quarterbacks doing this on a consistent basis. And yeah, Arch had a small sample size, but just this game by itself, I know the NFL scouts are just drooling over. All right, next play, we're going to have Arch throwing this deep crossing pattern. And yes, the offensive line is going to have to hold up for this to work because it's going to take some time to get open. But just pay attention to Arch's pocket presence here. Steps up beautifully. I mean, keeps his feet moving, keeps his feet under him. And again, thrown perfectly in stride to his wide receiver. And we'll see it again from the end zone angle. And you can see, look, the pressure's coming and Arch doesn't even care. I mean, he just literally, he looks a lot like Peyton to me. Now, I know that Eli was really good. Archie, he was really good. But, it was something I think a little bit different about Peyton Manning's pocket presence. And we're definitely seeing that with Arch Manning. All right, and we're going to see that one again from the end zone angle and just kind of pay attention to what Arch was looking at on this play. So first and foremost, they're running games up front, Mississippi State is, and that opens up a really wide lane. There was no one open down the field because of that zone, but that's a good job by Arch. The only thing that I will say is if you're going to slide, then slide. If not, then don't. But you don't want to be halfway doing that because you could take some unnecessary shots, and I would hate to see that. Now, on this one, same thing. Everything just kind of breaks down, and Arch decides, hey, I'm just going to use my legs, and he gets about 20 or 30 yards. So, yeah, he's a very, very active runner. He's a very good runner. He has good vision and things like that. You're seeing it here. Does a good job. There's some pressure coming. Obviously, you could see that this guy's kind of going after Arch's legs, but his eyes are still downfield. This again is this is a Manning special. They all do this. They all do this at the highest level, and he looks no different. The only difference is going to be that he is a much better athlete probably than all of them. Again, outside of his pots. But look at this. I mean, for you to for you to be able to run past people, that's an SEC team. Running past those guys with speed that have the angle on you. That is very impressive for me, just watching Arch go to work. So on this one, we're going to have the running back is going to actually go out to the flats, and things are going to kind of break down here as well. Really deep drop right there. It's not open down the field, so Arch tries to come up. He still makes something happen. He's got that baller to him. He's got a little bit of gunslinger to him, but he does it safely. So I think it's perfect. So we're going to see this again from the end zone angle. Y'all can tell a little bit better exactly what's going on here. So offensive line just kind of breaks down with their pass pro. Arch at this point now has 3 defenders closing on him. This is a jump pass going out to the flats, okay? And he still has beautiful form. Like, look at the ball's coming right by his ear. So very, very well trained. He was born to do it. And look at the accuracy on this pass. Yeah, it's probably about a 15 to 20-yard pass. And, at least as far as how far the ball is going to travel, he's throwing it horizontally, but he's giving his team an opportunity to make a play instead of taking a negative one. All right, and on this play, we're going to have a deep crossing route by that slot guy. Arch is going to be reading the cornerback and the safety that's highlighted in red. If they don't drop back quick enough, then Arch knows that he can throw this pass all day long. Again, based off the route combinations and all that type of stuff. He understands what's going on pre-snap. So he sees that they kind of bite up or they pause, and he's got a good little, he's got a good little space to fit that football into. It's very, very well placed. It's very well thrown. So we're going to see it again from the end zone, and y'all can see just how accurate this pass actually is. So go ahead and let this thing roll. So Arch sees that the safety kind of pauses for just a tick. And this is the window that Arch gets to fit this football into. And it's a little bit of a bigger window than what we've seen up to this point. But the thing about it is, number 10, he could still make a play on this football if it doesn't have if it doesn't have enough zip on it. So Arch has to put the perfect amount of touch on this football so that his guy can make the catch without being interfered with. And this is the last one that we'll look at today. Just wanted to show Arch throwing outside of the pocket because we had not done that throughout this entire film session. But I watched every single clip of him throwing the football in this game versus Mississippi State. So on this one, he's going to sprint out to his right and throw this out. I just wanted to show y'all that, yeah, he can throw it from all different angles, and it just really doesn't matter. He's very accurate, and especially inside of the system, I think that it fits him very well. So moving to his right, throwing to his right. We're going to see it again from the end zone angle. You can see how well placed this football is, and there's a couple more things that I'm going to break down with that. So, got the outside zone, and I think that was an RPO as well. He decides to keep it. Now, what I love about where this ball is placed is that it's a little bit, just a taste, to the inside. But he was able to do that because he trusts his arm enough to know that, hey, that cornerback, he can't make a play on this, but throwing it in this spot, again, gives his wide receiver the opportunity to get up the field and potentially make a play, right? It keeps him in bounds, and, he ends up going out of bounds. But, different wide receivers would probably catch that stop, make that guy miss, and get up the dog on the football field. But that is it for our film session. All right, now it's time to give Arch Manning his grades, and we're going to start off with mechanics. I've got him at a 99. It's about as good as it could possibly get. It is beautiful. Okay, NFL teams are going to fall in love with him, but it's also going to help him to be very consistent with the things that he needs to be consistent with. Okay, we can expect that Arch is going to be consistently accurate in all the different situations that we looked at today. Again, we didn't go through although, whatever 34, 35 dropbacks from that game versus Mississippi State, because that probably would have been boring. But I just wanted to kind of give you all a taste of what I saw, what I took away from that film. So we're going to give him a 99 with his mechanics. Accuracy, we're going to go with a 95. Looks very accurate, looks very consistent, I would say. But on some of them, he could have been a little bit more accurate, especially whenever there's pressure. But 95, obviously, that's a very, very good grade. His arm strength, I'm going to go with a 90 at this point, just because we didn't see him stretch the field vertically too much, right? It doesn't mean that he can't do it. But 90, that's a very, very good grade. I'd say he could probably throw the football about 65 yards or something like that, accurately. So that's about what a 90 gets you, okay? And we will see some quarterbacks with a stronger arm than Arch has. And I don't think that you need to have the strongest arm necessarily, not for Sark's system. It's more about the timing, it's more about the accuracy and all of that type of stuff. And Arch has all of those things. As far as athleticism, I'm going to give him a 94. He can make you miss. He has really good straight line speed, like we talked about. He's strong and all those types of things. He's not going to be super duper shifty. So that would be higher than like a 94 if you're out there juking people all the time. Arch is more of a straight line runner. He's more of a find the open grass runner, and he runs with some savviness too. So I definitely like his game. And again, it's not just about the running. It's about how do you move and all those types of things. But 94, again, another very strong grade. So overall, Arch Manning gets a 94.5, and we'll see how that measures up compared to all the other SEC quarterbacks and maybe even all the national quarterbacks once we get to that, once this whole thing is all said and done. But that's it for today's video. I hope that y'all did enjoy it. And if you did, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.